Welcome in live to the Seth Floyd Show. I decided to start a few minutes early. Shaq Nums, my boy. I hope you're here. Shaq Nums, you're here. Let me know. Let me know how the mic sounds, if it's echoey or not. Remember that one time I was doing this and it was crazy echoey. Um, but yeah, we're gonna do a mock draft on draft eve. Happy draft eve, everybody, to all those who celebrate the draft, which is generally one of the best days of the year. If we're ranking the best days of the year, I mean, I know there's a little subjectivity depending on who you are and what you like. Me personally, okay, Christmas is pretty high up there. Christmas is up there. Um, I love Thanksgiving. Those are kind of my two favorite days out of the year. But then it goes like, man, is it like week one of the NFL and then NFL playoffs and then like wild card weekend and then the draft is like right there. Maybe I almost like the draft more than week one of the NFL, which doesn't make any sense, but it's kind of how I feel. Anyway, very excited that it's here finally. It's like the big event for the off season, obviously after free agency, and then we just get to wait and sit on our hands for 5 months or whatever until we get there. So get to training camp, and all we get to hear is all the rumors about everybody. New attire tonight. Okay, it's getting hot in Texas. Felt like a beach kind of day. Not that we have the beach. Well, we do have the beach here in Texas. So I threw on the shades, threw on the 49er tank top. Been working out, going on a cruise in a couple of weeks. What do you guys think? Got a little cruise coming up for my 10-year anniversary. Shout out, babe. Love you. Doing that in a couple weeks. I've been trying to hit the gym, but I don't know how well it's working. Shaq Nums, I don't know, man. The draft night Eve is not better than Thanksgiving. You could convince me draft night is better than Thanksgiving. Draft night Eve is not better than Thanksgiving, though. Thanksgiving is freaking fantastic. It's got everything you want. It's cold outside, great food, football all day. It kind of kicks off the Christmas holidays, though. If you're like me, I'm a big Christmas guy. Like, I'm listening to Christmas music as soon as Halloween is over. I'm like decorating as soon as Halloween is over. Don't care. Let me enjoy things. I don't care if you have a problem with it, but that's just how I feel. Texoma is not the beach. It's not swimmable water. I used to boat on Texoma all the time, and it's fun to tube on Texoma until you fall in. Is really gross, really gross. So nice glasses. Thanks, man. I found these. I got 2 pairs for $30. So I have this pair and a bright blue pair. So pretty cool. Anyway, tonight, okay, full mock draft, first round. It's at the request of Shaq Nums, who, by the way, is going to be hanging out with me tomorrow night to watch the draft. Okay, very excited. Shaq Nums in the flesh is going to be over. He was desperately begging me to do a full mock draft, not just 49ers. So I decided that I would do that for him because he's been such a loyal fan of the show. He's a Broncos fan. There's no gators in the ocean, Shaq Nums. You can go down to Galveston, though I don't recommend it. Galveston is not for everybody, but there's no gators down there. So just throwing that out there. All right. Now here's what I'm going to say about this mock draft. I do not know the needs of every team. I'm not going to pretend that I do. So my mock draft is going to go like this. I am going to let's see. Should we do this one? Can you guys see this? Edit. Why is this save? Perfect. Does that look good? You guys like that? I am going to. I'm going to do like based off of stuff I've read. I don't have sources. Obviously, I'm going off of like Todd McShay is my favorite guy. I listen to a lot of the national media, just like for the insights. Todd McShay is like super plugged in. I know some people don't like him, but anyway, so I'm going to go what I think each team is going to do. And if I have no clue, then I'm just going to do whatever I would do if I was in their spot. And I'll give you opinions on if what I think they're going to do is right or wrong or whatever. Here we go. Let's do it. Every team, first round, enter solo draft. So the beginning of the draft, there is no question. We've known for a few weeks, okay, that this first pick to the Titans is going to be Cam Ward. You can lock it in. There's nothing really to say here. Now, I will tell you this. Pick number 2, the Browns. There's a lot of talk that maybe the Browns are going to trade out. That's what I think they should do. I think they're going to make a terrible mistake. They're going to make a terrible mistake. Todd McShay said on his show this morning, he said, you can write down in Sharpie, if the Browns do not trade out, that they're going to go Travis Hunter. Why do I think that's a mistake? Because you have Abdul Carter on the board. Here's my deal with Travis Hunter. Fantastic athlete. Did something in college we've never seen before. That is why he's so good, is the value he brings on both sides of the ball. Do you, in your heart, truly feel like he's going to be able to play both ways at that high of a level in the NFL? In college, you can get away with out-athleticizing people on your schedule. A lot of the Big 12 was not that great. He's a better athlete than them. A lot of bad quarterback play, meaning on defense, you can look better because of that. The NFL is the best of the best. He's going to, instead of going full preparation for one side of the ball, he's going to go half and half. And I don't care how good of an athlete you are. Like, if you're not fully prepared on both sides of the ball, like, it's not going to be the same product we saw at Colorado. Now, I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, then great. Like, I will admit that. But if I was an evaluator, I'd be like, guys, like, he's really good. But if we don't feel like he's going to be able to play both ways full time on both sides of the ball, like, I think his value drops a little bit. But he said, this is what McShay is saying. He's saying Travis Hunter to number 2 is a lock, which brings you to the New York Giants. Side note, guys, I don't think I'm going to mess with trades. Sorry, Shaq Nums. I'll talk about if I think a trade could potentially happen in each of these spots, but I'm not going to try to do it. Yeah, perfect. Do we see any trades in this? Also, do you see any trades in the top 10? If so far, who? Yeah, I'll talk about a few. I'm not going to mess with the trades, the evaluation. Like, I just don't have the time for it. I haven't been home all day, so I'm just going to try to get through and give my opinions on each of these before my wife gets too cranky with me. Shout out, babe. Love you. Hope you're watching. I wore this tank top for you, babe. The Giants. There's talks that the Giants potentially could trade out of this as well, but I don't think they will. I think there's like 3 or 4 elite players in this draft, and Abdul Carter is one of them. By all counts and purposes and whatever, this is not a Shedeur Sanders pick. It doesn't sound like a Jackson Dart pick, though. A lot of people are saying Jackson Dart is who Daboll wants. But would you use the 3rd pick on Jackson Dart? I certainly wouldn't. I would try to trade back into the 1st or whatever, but I would not pass up Abdul Carter. I think he's the best player in the draft. It's crazy that picking at 3, you're going to get the best player. Fantastic. And then what do? They're going to trade Kayvon Thibodeau. I wish the Niners would be in on Kayvon Thibodeau. He'd be a nice piece. I don't think that's going to happen. But so then they would have Brian Burns and Abdul Carter, and now you're rocking and rolling on defense at least. Abdul Carter to the Giants. I don't think that trade's going to happen. This is the one where I think a trade could happen. I'm about to burp this Diet Dr. Pepper. It's like 90 degrees in my garage, by the way, guys. So if I'm sweating right now, if that offends you, he's in the building. Who's in the building? Oh, Scott's in the building. Oh, goody. Scott's in the building. Thank you, Scott, for being a loyal friend to watch my live stream. This is where I think that the Patriots could trade out and would like to trade out, because all the talk right now and the betting favorite is that Ashton Jeanty is going to go 5 to the Jaguars. That on FanDuel, on DraftKings, or whatever, if you look at it, Ashton Jeanty is supposed to go 5 now to the Jaguars. Now, the Patriots, it sounds like, again, not my sources, obviously, but just things I've heard on the Todd McShay report and everything, is that they're kind of locked into taking Will Campbell, the Patriots. And if they could trade back and take Will Campbell, they would like that more than taking him at 4. As we've talked about, as I've said on other videos, Will Campbell in last year's draft, like in this year's draft, most people have him as offensive tackle number 1. In last year's draft, he would have been tackle 5 or 6. But because of the premium position, like you have to have a tackle, and the Patriots desperately need a tackle, you just kind of have to take these guys earlier. I think he's going to be good. I don't think you're getting like an all-pro left tackle. I think they would like to trade out to a team that wants to jump the Jaguars so that they can get Ashton Jeanty. I think that's a real possibility. I'm not going to mess with it tonight. Shaq Nums, what are you willing to give up? Broncos, what are you willing to give up? Yeah, that's a good point. Also, Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence. Okay, Thibodeau and Carter. I think they would trade Thibodeau because they don't want to pay him. And if they trade him now, you get more value. But we'll just keep them all. Shaq Nums, Broncos, all the way up to 4. What are you willing to give up from 20? The starter is, I would think, this year's second. The package I would think is this year's second and then next year's first and second to go that far. And it might be more. You might have to throw in like a 5th rounder this year also or something, like something crazy like that. Would you be willing to do that? Because that's a lot to go get a running back in a very deep running back class. But Jeanty is Jeanty. Like, he's definitely a cut above these other guys. So I don't know. You tell me, Shaq Nums. The Broncos could trade up. I don't know who else. 1 and 2 this year, 1 next year, and a player and a future forward. Yeah, that's what it would take. Your 1 for sure next year is gone. If you include a player, depends what the player is. Okay, who do the Patriots want? I don't know. Throw in Mike McGlinchey. Maybe they'll bite. Mike McGlinchey is not very good. You paid too much for him, but I get it. Then maybe. But if you can't include a player, it's got to be like next year's 2 also, because they're dropping 16 spots. So I don't know. Interesting. I don't know. The Broncos are the only one that really comes to mind. The Cowboys could potentially do it. Yeah, Mike McGlinchey. Yep. Be great. He's paying him a lot, though. So funny. Scott, I could see the Cowboys going from 12 to 4 is a lot easier than 20 to 4 if the Cowboys are that desperate for Jeanty. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But if the Patriots are not able to trade out, this pick, from what it sounds like, is going to be Will Campbell. I've already talked about Jacksonville. I don't think it's a bad idea to go Jeanty. They're the betting favorite now. I think that's where he's going. I think that's a good. I mean, take the heat off of Trevor Lawrence. Okay. The Jags could pull a weird surprise. I mean, they just lost Evan Ingram to the Broncos. What if the Jags just decided to trade back for like a team that maybe the Cowboys or the Broncos are like, dude, please, we want Jeanty. And they just say they trade back with the Cowboys to 12, and then they just target one of the tight ends and pick up a few extra picks. That wouldn't be bad for the Jaguars. But regardless, for this, and I imagine tomorrow they're going to take Jeanty. It'll help Trevor Lawrence quite a bit. And they'll be rocking and rolling. Now, Mace, the Raiders at 6. It's tough. I thought that was a good Jeanty landing spot. Obviously, he's not there anymore. What McShay has said is he's heard the Raiders go either tackle or edge. Now, Mason Graham is still on the board, but he is dropping, and he's because of his build. It's because of his size. When you look at Mason Graham, look at his interviews and him just standing there, like, he does not look like he would be the best defensive lineman in the class. That is a classic overthink by some of these teams. It's a classic overthink. I don't know. I don't know why you would keep passing on him, but that's kind of been the buzz today. And as a 49er fan, that is what I hope happens, is that Mason Graham falls to them at 11. I don't think he will. I think that's like very wishful thinking. I think the Niners, if he dropped to like 7 or 8, they might try to trade up to get him because that's their biggest need. And he's like one of those players that I think is elite, despite his size being a little underwhelming. But Aaron Donald was also a small, underwhelming. So. And look what he was. He's not going to be Aaron Donald, but let's see. Membo for who? You think the Raiders take Membo? Is that what you're saying? And Scott, you said, I thought trading up for running back first round is terrible draft analysis since they're about 10 worthy drafts. Yeah, I think just the idea is Jeanty is like a generational elite player. The other running backs in this draft are very good, but not in the same tier as Jeanty. That's just like what the talk is. That's what people are saying. So you can choose to not agree with that. That's fine. But I think that's how the general consensus in the NFL right now is Jeanty is worth a top 5 pick. The other running backs are very good. You think the Raiders like Mimbo? Rappaport said that. Well, maybe I could be swayed because I was going to go Mason Graham here. But if that's what you've heard, I haven't heard Mason Graham to the Raiders. I've heard an edge, if anything. But I think Mimbo is going to come off the board. Again, it's that tackle position. I think it's going to be Mason Graham. I'm sorry, Shaq Nums. I'm going Mason Graham. It hurts me because I want him to fall, but I think he's such a good player. I think Tom Brady's kind of running that thing now. I think Pete Carroll likes defense, and I think that they are going to that they're going to go. I think they're going to go best player and also a defensive lineman, which hurts. I hope he doesn't. I hope he falls tomorrow. 7. Now this is an interesting one. A lot of Tyler Warren talk to the Jets, but this is today, and this was on McShay's pod, and I agree with it. Just you got a new quarterback. He's not a rookie, Justin Fields. You still, even after last year, like they tried to fix that offensive line, did not go the way they wanted it to, for a lot of reasons. Man, are they a mess. I think Aaron Glenn's going to right the ship, but I think that the Jets going Armin Mimbo here would be a solid move. I guess it could be Kelvin Banks. Some guy was arguing with me on my with one of my reels. He was like commenting about how for some reason everyone has Kelvin Banks as a top 10 lock except for 49er content creators. And I was like, dude, maybe like everyone's talking about how bad of there's no real O lineman in this draft, at least at the top of the draft. But he did not like that. He did not like that I was not all in on Kelvin Banks. But he'll probably go higher than everyone thinks. I think the Jets are going to take Armin Mimbo. They could go defense. I think they could go edge, but I think they're going to go Armin Mimbo and just try to get some momentum. They got to be able to run the football, and they got to get some movement. Mimbo is such an athlete; he can get out into space. I think it would be really good for them. Apparently, the worst kept secret is how bad the Panthers want Jalen Walker. I don't know why I said Jalen Walker. Okay, a lot of like McShay is super high on Jalen Walker and thinks he should be like a top 5 pick just because of his athleticism, projecting a little bit there. But he says he's just a freak, and he's really high on him. So I think that I don't know why I would go any different. I don't know much about what the Panthers. I know they played really well last year down the stretch. But Jalen Walker feels like a shoe into the Panthers. The Saints is a tough one. Saints is a really tough one. I think that they are all in on a Jackson Dart. I do not think they want Shedeur Sanders. So what do they do? Where do they go? The the Pro Football Network rankings on here are like kind of all over the place. So I don't know. They probably need offensive line help. This could be a Kelvin Banks one here. I think edge people feel like is a very important part of this draft. Even though there's no like surefire outside of Abdul Carter, there's a lot of potential. And so I'm going to go edge here for the Saints. I'm flipping back and forth, seeing if anyone disagrees with me. I'm gonna go edge here for the Saints. Okay, they've got a lot. They need a quarterback. I don't know if Derek Carr is going to be able to play, but this is a classic. Like maybe the Saints trade back. This would be a trade back scenario if someone really wanted like a Tyler Warren, or a team wants to jump up to take the last kind of real first round talent at at tackle, which would be Kelvin Banks. Like the Saints could try to trade back and then maybe take Jackson Dart after grabbing some more picks. But I think they're going to go. I'm going to go Shamar Stewart. Do part of me want them to go Shamar Stewart so that the 49ers can not have that option of Shamar Stewart? Yes. He is a classic, like absolute freak athlete, tested off the charts, but has like really bad college production. I do not want that kind of player. It is so risky. There are plenty of edge players that have production. And man, I do. I just please at pick 11. Can we just get a dude who will play and at least meet his expectations like right away, like a good solid player? Shamar Stewart just freaks me out. He could be really good. He could be great, but man, it's a lot riskier than some of these other dudes. So I want Shamar Stewart off the board by the time the 49ers pick, if I'm being honest. Raiders like Mimbo, yeah. Anyway, so we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully Shamar Stewart comes off the board. Bears at 10. Man, the Bears are having like one of the best off seasons you could have as a fan. You just fire your lame duck coach. You add 3 offensive linemen, and you get Ben Johnson, the play caller. The Bears are going to try to fix their mistake that they made last year. I will die on this hill. I was saying it last year. I didn't have the channel up last year when the draft happened. But guys, this is such a cardinal sin to me. Okay. You have a rookie quarterback. You already had, you had Keenan Allen. They traded for Keenan Allen. I'm blanking on his name. Someone type it in the chat. The receiver they traded from Carolina. Gosh. Why can't I think of his name? Someone type it. Shaq Gnomes, I'm relying on you. I need a producer in my ear. Josh, I need you in my ear right now. Anyway, they had the dude from Carolina, the guy, the receiver they traded for, and they decided to go Rome Odunze. Exactly, Scott. They went Rome Odunze. He was the 3rd best wide receiver in the draft. They were picking it. What were they picking at 7 or something? They didn't get Marvin Harrison. They didn't get Malik Neighbors, who was probably the best one in the draft. And they just went with Rome Odunze. They could have had Brock Bowers, who is like unfreaking believable. And everyone, no, I know that's who they took, Odunze, but who is the receiver they traded for? I'm like blanking. DJ Moore. Thank you, DJ Moore. I thought of it. Thank you, brain, is what I'm saying to my brain. I remembered. They traded for DJ Moore. They had Keenan Allen. Draft this tight end who looks like he could be Hall of Fame, world's best tight end in a couple years. Like, he was so good this year. He's not the greatest blocker in the world, I don't think, but holy crap, he had over 100 catches for the Raiders this year, and he had like 5 different quarterbacks. Just get a tight end as like a security blanket for your, I don't know, your new rookie quarterback who needs help. And instead they went Rome Odunze. It's like, what are we doing? So they're going to try to fix it with this pick. Sorry, I'm ranting. I hated the pick then. I mean, Rome Odunze could be fine, but he's never going to be Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers will be a much better tight end than Rome Odunze is ever going to be a quarterback. I'm just a big tight end guy. I think tight ends unlock your offense if you have the right one. So they're going to try to fix it, and they are going to go Tyler Warren. And look, I love Tyler Warren. I'm really big on Tyler Warren. He is not the receiving threat that Brock Bowers is, but he's a better blocker than Brock Bowers. So maybe that's exactly what they need. All right, the 49ers. Listen, I've said this before. I'm willing them. I'm hoping so bad they will just go best player available, which in this scenario, I mean, who do we got on the board? That potentially, depending on how they have guys ranked, like that could be Tet McMillan. They won't. They're 49er fans. They're not going to take Tet McMillan, even if he's the highest on their board. I really don't think they're going to do that. But I would consider it if I were them. And I'm in the minority, and I'm fine with that. I do not want to reach for players that do not deserve to be picked at pick 11, because this thing is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So just because I have an immediate need on the line of scrimmage, I don't want to take a guy who is not potentially an all-pro or like a consistent Pro Bowl player when there is a guy on the board who I'm like, man, that dude's going to be Pro Bowler after Pro Bowler after Pro Bowler and sprinkle in a few all-pros. I don't care if I already have a really good tight end or a really good wide receiver. I just want good players on my team. It's just like, if I've said this a million times, if they drafted Tyler Warren, people are going to be up in arms like, yo, George Kittle, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then in 3 years, when Kittle starts to slow down and Tyler Warren is an all-pro, you're like, oh, I'm really glad we took Tyler Warren and we didn't take Kelvin Banks. So regardless, I'm getting all fired up, but I'm just saying, like, what are we doing? I noticed you saw Mike Green on your board. I know, Scott, if it were just me, and I know it's just me right now, but it doesn't sound like it, but this would be a 49ers decoy or a deke. Like they would just keep everyone in the dark, just like last year when they took Ricky Pearsall. I would take Mike Green. That is my guy. That is my draft crush. 17 sacks, high motor, freak athlete, dominated at the Senior Bowl. I would take Mike Green. But from the things that John Lynch said in his presser, I don't think it's going to be Mike Green. Also, Matt Barrows, who's an insider for the 49ers, like a beat writer, he just said what he's heard in the building is they're worried about Mike Green's off the field stuff. He had a couple accusations of I think it was sexual assault, and he was never charged. He was never even he never went to court for it, but he just had accusations, 2 separate occasions, one in high school, one at the University of Virginia, and that's enough to scare them away. So I don't know. If you've got to a place where you felt good about it, he is a no-brainer to me. His upside is so high. 17 sacks last year, just unbelievable. But I'm trying to go what I think is the most likely thing to happen. John Lynch in his presser, he talked about at an edge, they need a guy who can set the edge and play the run really well, and then also be effective in rushing the passer. But we were so bad against the run on defense last year that I think this pick is going to be Mykel Williams, okay, the edge from Georgia. If you watch Mykel Williams play, he is a man when it comes to setting the edge and playing the run. He's very good. It's not as sexy as like getting after the passer and sacking guys and racking up the stats like Mike Green, but he plays the run dang well, and he did it at Georgia in the SEC for a couple of years. So he's probably just a really high floor, plug and play. I put that guy in, immediately our defense gets better, even if he's probably never going to be like an all-pro edge. I don't necessarily agree with it. I would go Mike Green or like a Tet McMillan. That's what I would do. But they're probably not going to do that. And it sounds like when he said that in his presser yesterday, all the 49er fans were like, oh, okay, Mykel Williams, he's going to the Niners. That's who they're really looking at. I think there's other guys. I think if Mason Graham does fall, he is a lock to be ours. If Mason Graham is on the board at 11, he will be a 49er. But if the draft kind of plays out how it has here, I think they'll go like a Mykel Williams, because I think there's a lot of depth at interior defensive line later in the draft, and Mykel Williams plays on the edge, and I think he would be really good. I think he would be good. I'm not like jumping for joy and doing backflips. Like, I'm not really excited about that many guys in this draft at pick 11, but I feel like we would be a better football team with him. Good night. We're only at pick 12. Stacey's going to be so mad. I'm sweating out here, by the way. It's very hot. All right. Here you go, Scott. Scott, would you want Mike Green? Is that who you want? I don't think you want Mike Green. But Mike Green with Micah Parsons, like, good golly, that would not be bad. That would be really good, actually. Now that I'm saying that out loud, that would be a great pick. I don't think you're doing that. Scott, you're going to get one of my draft crushes, okay? You guys need another guy, another weapon for Dak to help out CD, take some pressure off CD, who just keeps balling by himself. Imagine how much better he'll be. I think Tet McMillan is a great pick here. I'm really high on Tet McMillan. I know he's dropped. Like, McShay has him as his 50th overall player. I don't know why. I think they're questioning like his love for football. There's like been some of that. I don't know. But he's big. He's going to be a huge possession receiver. He's a very good athlete. He will complement CD well. Gives Dak another guy to just kind of throw the ball up to. I pick. You want Omarion Hampton? Well, too bad. I already put Tet McMillan here. Sorry. Scott, I'm just going to say you don't want Omarion Hampton here. I think you want a running back later. That's what I'm going to say. So I'm sorry. This is my show. Omarion Hampton. It's funny. I should have asked you, but whatever. Tet McMillan, that's your guy. That's who you're taking, okay? So just deal with it. Would it be better if it's like here? Does that look better? No, that doesn't look better. Yeah, it's better. All right, here we go. I'm going to keep going. I'm trying to get through this the best we can. Dolphins at 13. I'm going off of what McShay said. They need a lot of offensive line help. Terran Armstead retired this week. Or last week or whatever, and he's heard that Kelvin Banks will not get past the Dolphins at 13. That if he's there, he's a lock to go to the Dolphins. I will say this, if the Niners did go Kelvin Banks, I wouldn't love it because I don't think he's going to start at tackle. Like, he would have to play guard, and a lot of people think he's a guard. But anyway, he fits because Texas runs the zone scheme. It's the same type of scheme that Shanahan and Mike McDaniel run out in Miami. So Calvin Banks is going there. The Colts are a huge trade up candidate. Sorry, Scott. The Colts are a huge trade up candidate. Sounds like they're really tied to these tight ends. Sounds like they'd be very interested in Tyler Warren. I didn't do any trades, but they would be a trade up candidate with like, who are the guys? We talked about the Saints. The Panthers are also like rumored to potentially be wanting to trade back. But whatever. I think they could trying to get Tyler Warren. I didn't do any trades here, so the Colts are going to end up with Colston Loveland, and I think Colston Loveland, like from what people say, is he's a much bigger threat in the pass game than Tyler Warren. He just played at Michigan, and that might be true. Gosh, man, my nose these allergies are killing me. That might be true. Tyler Warren was really productive in the past game, so maybe Colston Loveland is just like this freak, and if he had played in a better offense, like he would be the undisputed number one tight end. But I think they're going to go tight end, one of those two right there. This is where we're going to start getting things are going to get weird, guys. I do not know a bunch of needs for a lot of these teams. I couldn't tell you really the Falcons, like what their biggest need is. Okay, I am not sure. I'm not sure, but I think these edges that are still on the board are going to go in this first round, regardless of need. Okay, I mean it says right here, team needs cornerback, D tackle, edge. Who knows? But my guy, Mike Green, is still on the board. I think the Falcons take Mike Green. Too much value. He led the NCAA in sacks last year. It's unbelievable. I think that'd be a steal at 15. I think Mike Green should be a top 10 pick. That's how high I am on him, but I digress. I wish he'd go to the Niners. We'll see. One I do know for the Cardinals, from what I've heard from one of their needs, I don't know if it says it on here, but one of their needs is, it's not even on here, but they need a corner. Maybe it's not their biggest need, but McShay was talking about it today. They need a corner. They're sitting right here. They could go Will Johnson. They could go Jahdae Barron. I don't know. I think Will Johnson's 2023 tape is going to get him picked first. He was hurt last year, didn't play as well in the time that he was in, but people still really high on Will Johnson. So we're going to go Will Johnson to the Cardinals. That's a great value pick considering a lot of people, when the draft process started, had Will Johnson going like top 10. So to get him at 16, like the Cardinals will feel really good. I don't like that because I'm a Niner fan and I don't want the Cardinals to be good. The Bengals desperately need help on defense. They need help on the defensive line. Who knows what's going to happen with Trey Hendrickson, the DN wanting to trade out. I'm going to give them the best, highest rated defensive tackle, interior guy here. Right now, like on this, it's Derek Harmon or Walter Nolan or Kenneth Grant. Like one of those three guys they're probably all in the same kind of tier, depending on what your flavor is, like what you like best. I'm going to go Derek Harmon. Okay. They need defensive line. They need defensive line help. So Seattle has been linked to, and they need offensive line help. Seattle's roster is in like a weird spot, man. They're in a weird spot. You trade away DK Metcalf, so now you just have you just have Jackson Smith and Jigba. Sorry, Tyler Lockett's not there anymore. Tyler Lockett's still free agent actually, and they need a receiver real bad. But you have Sam Darnold. The offensive line still was not very good. The responsible thing here would be for them to go offensive line. Now, if you told me Seattle, who I despise, by the way, but I'm trying to be fair. I despise Seattle. But if you told me they went Matthew Golden or Emeka Egbuka, like I would not be shocked at all. They took Jackson Smith and Jigba when they had a lesser need when they already had DK. So if they took Matthew Golden or Egbuka, like wouldn't be shocked at all. But I think they're going to try to switch it up and be like more responsible, like how you're supposed to do these things. And they've been linked to Gray Zabel, who I think is really good. He's not a tackle. He's going to play center or guard. That's why I've got them taken. I don't know. I saw a wide receiver mocked to Tampa. I'm not sure why. Maybe, I mean, they still have Mike Evans. They still have Chris Godwin, though. Godwin coming off the injury. Mike Evans getting old. Maybe the just highest player on the board. I don't know. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick to that honestly because I don't know. I mean, what does it? What does it say their needs are? Cornerback, edge, linebacker, all defensive players. Um, fine, we'll do that. We'll do that instead. We're gonna go Jahdae Barron to the Bucks. I don't know. It just says that's what they need. Jahdae Barron's a really good cornerback. Really good defensive back. I think he's got some versatility, so maybe he will fit in there. Shaq Nums, your time has come, my friend. You'd think the Falcons could pick Shedeur. Yeah, maybe. You never know after they took Penix last year. The Broncos and Shaq Nums. Shaq Nums, I'm sorry that you missed out on both tight ends. I cannot see you guys making a move up for a tight end after signing Evan Ingram. I don't think Evan Ingram is the long-term answer to how it'll end up for you. But I don't think you're going to use you just paid him all this money. I don't think you're going to use draft capital to go up and get a dude like Evan Ingram or Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland. I think you guys need a running back, and I think you guys are going to throw a curveball this whole time. It's been Omarion Hampton is the second best running back in this class, but it really feels like you guys are in love with Trayvon Henderson. Okay. A lot of people think Henderson is going to be like the Jahmyr Gibbs of this class. He is just going to be electrifying. He was really good at Ohio State. He was electrifying at Ohio State. And yeah, I think Omarion Hampton's probably the first running back taken in the second round, maybe at the end of the first. But yeah, this is going to be the pick. Hopefully you're okay with that, Shaq Nums. Scott, why are you just so chaotic and have to troll on my channel? It's fine. I appreciate that you're here. The Steelers, speaking of Shedeur Sanders, I think they don't want to go Shedeur Sanders here. I think they're just ready to roll it back, or not run it back, but just kind of roll it out with Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers still hasn't signed. Rodgers is being really weird about this whole thing, and he's a weirdo anyway, but he's really being weird about this. And I think the pressure is going to get to them. The truth is, you don't know what Aaron's going to do. What if you get through the draft and Aaron just kind of comes to you after the draft and is like, "Hey guys, I'm retiring," and now you're like, "Oh, cool. We're just going to trot out Mason Rudolph. We have a Super Bowl caliber defense." And the only thing that's been holding us back is our quarterback play. We can't roll out Mason Rudolph. We can't just roll him out there and be our starter. We have to go. We have to go and have a guy that at least gives us some hope and has some type of ceiling, even though there's going to be some bumps and bruises along the way. We love Henderson. I know you guys do. I think that's going to be the pick. If you can't get up for Genty, and if Warren or Colston Loveland don't drop far enough to you, I think that'll be the pick. Yeah, I think he would fit really well in your guys' offense, so I did that for you. So I think this pick is going to be Shedeur Sanders. I'm going Shedeur for those reasons, because you can say all you want that Rodgers is going to play for you, but you don't know. You don't know. And Rodgers is going to play what? He's going to play 1 year. He's going to play 1 year and then be done, and you're back in the same spot. And with Rodgers, you're probably not winning a Super Bowl, but you're probably, with that defense, you're probably going to the playoffs. They're not dysfunctional like the Jets are, so you're probably picking in the 20s again and still in the same situation. You might as well take a quarterback who, if Rodgers shows up, he can learn under Rodgers. If he doesn't show up, then you at least have a guy who's an athlete who can make this thing kind of work, and we just kind of go from there. Here we go. The Chargers, for whatever reason, okay, the Chargers have been linked to Kenneth Grant. That's what people are saying. That's what McShay said. I don't know how true that is, how accurate that is. We'll see. But we'll go Kenneth Grant to the Chargers. Packers is a tough one. Both Will Johnson and Jahdae Barron are off the board. What are they going to do? What does it say their needs? Edge. Yeah. Edge, corner, wide receiver. I guess wide receiver. I guess they don't really have a number one. Maybe they'll shake things up. Oh, yeah. They still have Matthew Golden on the board. Let's just say that Matthew Golden goes to the Packers. Value pick. They are. They don't have a true number one. They have a plethora of like really fast guys, number twos. Maybe they'll go Matthew Golden. Vikings here. Safety, cornerback. I don't know. Will they say that? Are those their needs? I don't know. I'm not positive, guys. I couldn't tell you for sure. But sure. Let's say Malachi Starks, who McShay even kind of thinks could go into the second round. We'll go Malachi Starks, the Vikings, kind of help fit a need there. The Texans, who are rumored to be a trade up candidate because they desperately need offensive line help. Okay, I think they are going to go offensive line here for sure. Maybe they're comfortable taking Josh Simmons. That's who I'm going to give them. Josh Simmons, who most people think, if Josh Simmons had not had that patellar injury in October against Oregon, he would have been. Oh, you're Shaq. You're at work. Gotcha. You're good, man. Appreciate you hopping on when you could. Josh Simmons, if he'd never had that injury, he would be a lock to go to the Patriots, I'm sure, at 4. He is for sure the best tackle, but the patellar injury is like not like the ACL. Like you can come like the ACL, especially if you're a lineman, like you can come back and be pretty close to what you were. And as a lineman, you could maybe come back all the way to what you were because your game isn't based off speed; it's off like quickness and explosiveness. But that patellar injury, like they really say no, your performance really takes a hit. So people are just so worried about it. But to get him at 25, maybe they just feel like it's too good to pass up. They made some trades. They traded Tunsil to the Redskins, not the Redskins. What are they now? The Commanders. So that's what I think. That's what I think they're gonna do is they're gonna take Josh Simmons. The Rams, I bet, also go line. What does it say? The linebacker, cornerback, edge. It doesn't say they need one. I think they're gonna go line. I think that they have to keep Matthew Stafford upright. And I think Tyler Booker, a lot of people think Tyler Booker could be the best interior offensive lineman in this draft. So we'll see. We'll see. Ravens, this feels like a Ravens pick. Who do we have on defense? Do they need a linebacker? Yeah, they could go. Jahad Campbell would be a good pick for them. That might be what they do. The Ravens, man, they always get like they always cash in. They just cash in and they get these unbelievable players that just fall to them, like Kyle Hamilton and anyway. Lamar Jackson, though, that was a different situation. But I saw a mock. I saw someone, who it was, if it was Daniel Jeremiah, whoever had Jahad Campbell going to the Ravens. That would make sense. They're a defensive-minded team, and they just always make the right picks. It feels like so. We'll go Jahad Campbell there. Lions, we're getting near the end here. It says they need an edge. Nick Scorton could be there. I think Donovan Iziraku, I can't say his name, out of Boston College. He's like, I think, a dark horse. A lot of people think he could sneak in around here near the end, and maybe he will still go there. But I'm gonna say the Lions are gonna go Walter Nolan, who a lot of people feel like is the second best defensive lineman in this class, second best interior defensive lineman. So that would be a great value pick for the Lions. Commanders, they need an edge, so they just traded for Debo, so they're not going to go Emeka Egbuka, but they could. They really could. I mean, it's such a good value for them, but they need an edge, so why not? I think Donovan because I struggle to say his last name, is going to sneak into the first round here. I think Nick Scorton is a candidate as well. James Pierce also could be, but I don't know. He's really got football. He's got like character concerns, so who knows? Who knows if that'll be the case? Bills, okay. This would be Hall of Fame pick for the Bills. At 30, you get Emeka Egbuka, who could very well, they need receiver help. He could very well be the best. He could be the best. What am I trying to say? Gosh, receiver in the draft. Ohio State receivers just dominate in the NFL, and yeah, I think that's an incredible pick if that's how it plays for Buffalo. Chiefs, can't stand you. Glad you lost the Super Bowl. I mean, defensive tackles, it looks like a need, but I don't think they're going to go any of these guys. Maybe like a TJ Sanders, Tyreek Williams. That's possible. They just signed Jalen Moore, so I don't know if that would be the pick. Maybe they'll go here again, and they'll go Donovan Jackson. I don't know if maybe there's another guard that they like better. I don't know. Tate Ratledge is supposed to be pretty good too. Pretty high on him. And finally, we get the Eagles, and guess what? They're going to do the most Eagles thing ever. They're going to take this guy who's a freak athlete who, if he did not have character concerns, he'd probably be a top 15 pick for sure. But because he's got character concerns, just like Jalen Carter, he's going to fall all the way to them. We're going to go James Pierce Jr. at 32. So that's what I got. That's what I got for you. I could see it playing out this way. There's going to be trades. There's for sure going to be trades. I talked about a handful of potential ones. But Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, Ashton Jeanty, Mason Graham, Armin Mimbo, Jalen Walker, Shamar Stewart, Tyler Warren, Michael Williams. Cowboys take Ted McMillan. Dolphins take Kelvin Banks, excuse me. Colts get Loveland. Falcons get my draft crush, Mike Green. Cardinals take Will Johnson. Derek Harmon to the Bengals. Gray Zabel, great pickup for the Seahawks. Jahdae Barron to the Bucks. Shaq Numbs gets Trayvon Henderson. Okay, the Steelers feel like they have no choice, but they have to go with Shedeur Sanders because Aaron Rodgers won't sign. Kenneth Grant has been linked to the Chargers these last few weeks. Matthew Golden, probably a really good fit in Green Bay. Malachi Starks to the Vikings. Josh Simmons to help replace offensive line woes in Houston. Tyler Booker to the Rams. Jihad Campbell to the Ravens. Walter Nolan to the Lions. Donovan E. to Washington. Emeka Egbuka, great pick for the Bills. Donovan Jackson to the Chiefs. And then James Pierce Jr. to the Eagles. Good times, guys. Good times. That is what I have for you. Let me know what you think, what you like. I think Kenny, I talked about you earlier, man. Kelvin Banks, I had him going to the Dolphins at 13. So I don't have him in the top 10, but he could go top 10. I know we commented back and forth on how we feel about it. I think Kelvin Banks is going to be a good lineman in this league. I don't think I'd use pick 11 on him, but to each his own. Are you subbed to me? I don't even know if you're subbed to me. Have I earned your sub yet? I'll give you a sub if you're subbed on mine. I just want to say too, Kenny, as we're friends now, if the Niners take Kelvin Banks, I will cheer him on, and I will be his biggest cheerleader, and I will believe that he will be very good. I will not be mad. Okay. Okay. You go to 6. I don't know. I think people are going to take linemen earlier than they deserve to go in this draft because there's a lack of elite talent in this draft at a line. But if he goes, I'm rooting for him either way. Kenny Stills, no, it's not Kenny Stills. Kenny's too cool. Kenny Stills is way too cool to be on my channel, even though we played ball together. If he makes it to 11 and the Niners take him, I will cheer him on. I will be all about Kelvin Banks. I will believe in him. I'm not going to rip the Niners and be super emotional about it. I'm just saying how I think about it, and I don't think that they are going to prioritize a guy who there's a good chance he's just going to play guard his whole career. We were always friends. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I just think there's a good chance he's going to play guard most of his career, and I don't think they want to use pick 11 on that. And I could be wrong, and I'm not saying it's right for them to think that way. I just don't think they value that position that way. And so I don't think they are going to I don't think they're going to use that pick on him. or any of these linemen. I just don't. But watch Todd McShay's last draft today, dude. He went 6 because John Spack and Tom Brady. First week together, one high character guy. Sorry, I'm reading your. He went 6 because. All right. Well, could be. It could be. I think like there are 3 linemen. Okay, you've got Will Campbell, you've got Armand Mimbo, and you've got Kelvin Banks. Like they're all in that kind of first tier, and then there's a huge drop off. So teams are going to take him high. I think it's just like an overvalued take because I think in another draft, that it would be different. These guys would be taken later, but whatever. For me, I don't care. I just want them to take the best player available. I don't want them to feel like we have to take a lineman because we've had O-line issues. We have to do it at 11, whatever. I appreciate that, man. I'll sub to your channel. I'll sub to it. I have I'll get on that. Okay. I appreciate you guys. The wife is waiting for me. She's tired of me being out in the garage. So I appreciate you joining in and, share it with your friends. If you haven't subbed yet, anyone watching after the fact, give me a sub. I appreciate it. But best day of the year tomorrow. So enjoy it. Let's be positive no matter what. And go Niners is what it is. Go Niners. I'll see you, Scott. Sounds good, man. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.